What's up? What up, everybody? As we're looking at the Trumpster trying to dig himself out of this hole he even got himself in with Russia, and there's nothing more he could do. So he comes out and said, "Oh, I misspoke. Right here when I said would, I meant would." You know how you now when he's somebody else and he plays like he's tough, then he goes home and he's bad again. That ain't what I see. Y'all ain't seen me. You should have saw me behind closed doors. I was giving it to him. I wish they had that tape. Why somebody else had the tape? We have that tape. What? All this guy does is pivot. Yet, you guys still fall for the banana in the tailpipe. But it's so funny because I love to see Trump supporters. Trump supporters come in and they lie all the time. They could be Trump could be on tape punching somebody in the face. I mean, look, he punched somebody. Man, that dude was harassing him, man. How you know what that guy did? You know Trump ain't just gonna punch somebody. Tell you, he probably is Obama. That's Hillary Clinton's people. You dare blame Trump for that? He'll be taking their money right out of their pocket, and they'll still be sitting there saying, "What a wonderful guy Trump is." Well, you can't really blame him. So no good Democrats.
Defend his own unique style of diplomacy. Chris Butler, BBC News, Washington.
Let's take you to Sweden next. It's called for international help to fight more than 41.
Oh, no, we don't.
To test the facts. I'm going to lay them out. You judge. Next.
Lord, I think he's a very positive individual, and everything he's tried to.
Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz said that he was glad to hear the president say he believes the intelligence community's assessment regarding Russian meddling in the 2016 election. The congressman also said, despite criticism from some Democrat and Republican lawmakers, the summit was a big win.
I still think that at the end of the day, the Helsinki summit was a win because if we're able to leverage Russia in Iran and North Korea and Syria for broader peace, then that will have a far more lasting impact than a misstatement.
And Gaetz also said he called upon the president to clarify his comments from the Helsinki summit and appreciated the president's decision to correct his earlier statement. Vice President Mike Pence is set to rally with supporters in Missouri on Thursday, where he is expected to touch on the president's recently passed tax law. In a tweet on Wednesday, the vice president touted an article he wrote in St. Louis where he applauded the president for delivering results in his first term. He specifically pointed to tax cuts, which have fueled a big boost in Missouri's economy. The vice president also turned his attention to Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill, who he criticizes for voting against the Republican tax cut plan and is up for re-election in 2018. All right, straight ahead on One American News, a stretch of beach closed in New York after 2 children are attacked by sharks. We have the details on that attack. Plus, Michigan police raid the house of a priest accused of embezzling millions of dollars from his church.
What a surprise.
The break.
One American kayak searches hundreds of travel and airline sites.
So they have a currency.
Who we are.
Returning to normal life.
19.
They were mainly for
Hey!
By the way, and don't forget when Obama did literally nothing to counter Putin's involvement in Syria.
There he
It was
is.
Donald Trump.
Hand job handed.
Strikes against the Assad regime.
Let's blame Obama.
Attack on Russian soldiers on the ground in Syria, resulting in hundreds of Russian casualties. Obama drew a red line, and then they crossed over it, and he did nothing. The media is hysterical over the president's, well, so-called friendly relationship with Putin. compared to Obama's. Okay, and on last night's program, the great one, Mark Levin, put all of this hysteria into great perspective. It's worth repeating. Take a look.
In 1945, at the Yalta Conference, Franklin Roosevelt sold out half of Europe to Stalin. He repeatedly praised Stalin. In 1961, JFK met with Khrushchev. JFK told a friend of his that he was rolled over, that he came across weak, that it was pretty disastrous, his meeting with Khrushchev. In 1975, Gerald Ford in Helsinki with Brezhnev, 35 other countries, recognized the territorial sovereignty of the Soviet Union, which included the captive nations of Eastern Europe. In 1979, Jimmy Carter placed a big wet kiss on Brezhnev's cheek in Vienna.
So, like we've been
All
saying,
this has
since
nothing
Donald
to
Trump
do
came down the
with what Trump
Where
did.
he insisted that maybe it wasn't Russia, cemented his allergy to the reality.
No
So
president
today,
ever has
he
been
said
tough on
he
Russia.
doesn't want to get into whether Putin lied by denying the interference. But he didn't hesitate to blame all the criticism of this situation, of his breach of trust with you and the country, on fake news. But know this, that too is proof. Proof President Trump cannot handle the truth. So let's test his case to you on Russia. Here it is in short.
There's been no president ever as tough as I have been on Russia.
Back it up, you say. And he says, fine. Just yesterday, the White House put out this long list of everything that they've done against Russia.
Oh, here they are with
This is
this
very
bunch
impressive.
of
There's a rule in
garbage.
politics. Sometimes when people throw a lot at you, it's because they
This is
haven't
Trump's
done
plan.
anything really big. And you know what? That's the truth here as well. How much of this is about election interference? And how much of this was spearheaded by Trump? Now we get the answer by looking at things up close. All right, this is one of the few things that deals with election interference specifically. The Trump administration has maintained the closure of 2 Russian.
You know what maintain means? It was already in place before he got
in the
there.
2016 election. Why did I underline it? Because I like to use the magic wall. Why else? Because this was done by Obama. Okay, he's keeping Obama's punishment in place. This wasn't his. Here's another one. This one is from March. Notable. Why? Because there's an irony here. In March 2018, the administration imposed sanctions against 16 Russian entities and individuals for their roles in Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. What else happened at about that time? Mueller's team indicted the Russian trolls. At the time, you heard nothing from Trump. That he says is a witch hunt. Now, interestingly, in this long list, this one, there's nothing in here about the biggest. Why? The bill remains seriously flawed. This was a 98-2 vote by the Senate. It was 300 and something in the House. It was veto proof because they were forcing the president's hand. At the time, he said this, seriously flawed. He hated it, particularly because it encroaches on the executive branch's authority to negotiate. Authority to negotiate. What was he talking about? He was talking about what we saw in Helsinki, his ability to take it easy on Putin. By January, Trump told Congress he wasn't going to impose these sanctions after all, that the threat of sanctions alone was already serving as a deterrent. When the sanctions were finally imposed in March of this year, okay, it was way past the deadlines imposed by Congress. All right, then there's another situation that is Russia relevant, Syria, okay? Obama, you'll remember, held off on crossing the red line action. Now, I did the first interview with the president after that situation. I pushed him on it hard and for good reason. If gassing your own people doesn't cross a red line, what does? Obama took a different path. He went to Congress. He wanted their involvement. They didn't want to do anything with it because Congress is all about giving up its authority to the executive branch. So he did nothing. Trump did do something. He hit Syria. He bombed them. But when it came to hitting Russia over their role in Syria, what happened? Nikki Haley was on TV saying this.
You will see that Russian sanctions will be coming down. Secretary Mnuchin will be announcing those on Monday if he hasn't already.
Now, remember what happened there? The next day, the administration suggested she was confused. Nikki Haley did not like that. She said, I wasn't confused. I said exactly what I wanted to say. But ultimately, they all walked it back. Why? Trump didn't like the idea. He didn't want to go toe-to-toe with Russia on this. The poison spies in the UK. That led to some sanctions, but Trump dragged his feet on the initial response. He waited almost 2 weeks after Theresa May said Russia did it. Trump issued a half-hearted condemnation, saying he would condemn Russia or whoever it may be. It was Russia. So what has he done that was not forced on him to do? What was a signature move against Russia? That's what Helsinki was supposed to be. Him, mano a mano, strong man versus strong man, and he'll make his mark. He made a mark, all right. A stain on the presidency, on the country, and that's in the word of his critics. So the president now admits that Putin must be held responsible for the attack on our electoral system. But you have to listen to why he says this is the case. And then you have the bigger question about whether Congress is going to make a move to limit the president's powers over Putin. Those are some great subjects for a great debate. And look at those two faces.
So now you're getting to the juice. Now you're getting to the juice. Uh-oh, I went too far.
All right, you can count on Geico saving.
Virus interested in, we just,
Street's right hand. You're 15%
About the contents of the dossier until December
Here we go.
2016. Now, he did hear about the dossier
Obama.
to people that I've spoken with, and I find it hard to believe, although reporters all over Washington, D.C. knew about this dossier, that the CIA, director knew nothing about it. So I have to stick with what I've been told, but that's
I think we're going to find a CIA director that is so radical and political now, Dr. Gorka, that he was radical and political during the campaign as well, and that becomes a big problem for him, doesn't it?
I think Sarah's point, Sean, is incredibly important. Never in the history.
They never have a panel with any objectivity. The whole panel, they always in agreement. Because we agree all the time. That's right.
He's making public statements about who Americans should vote for in the next election.
Listen to that. Obama era intel officials become mouthpiece for the many war on Trump.
Makes seditious statements.
This is not a news channel. This is a propaganda channel, and they just create things. This is like a social media blog site, and they just create stuff and keep running with it. They be like, well, what happened with Trump? Why did he say that? Well, those media people, they work for Obama. What does this have to do with anything the president just done? Obama era intel officials. Obama hasn't been president for 2 years. Next thing you know, they're gonna be back digging up Jimmy Carter. They're gonna go to, they don't want to mention nothing about the Kennedys. He's too beloved. Can you imagine a level of a mind that would come here for legitimate news? Hannity himself said he is not a journalist. When he said he's not a journalist, believe him. He's not a journalist. He is a whatever the Republican, Donald Trump supporter. That's all he is. Scum. Exactly. Whenever Trump does something, you guys just name drop somebody else. We don't care about the Clintons. They're not in the White House. We know they crooks. Tell us something we don't know. You see, people think if somebody blames Trump for stuff that he's actually doing, they'd be, well, what about Jimmy Carter in '69, huh? You didn't say nothing with Jimmy, did it in the '80s. What about the other President Roosevelt in 18? Nobody cares. We care about right now. He's sitting in the presidency right now. He's over there buddying up with Russia, being told what to do right now. Putin come over here right now and say, you know what, I'm taking Russia from you. That's it. You get up out of the chair. Okay. That's what people are afraid of right now. Why does people love to go run to Obama and the Clintons? That's their out. Well, the Clintons are dirt. I'd be like, yeah, I know it. I'm not a Clinton apologist. I care less about those Clintons. I know they're scum. So you can't wiggle out of this one with me. Hell, I'll align myself with Obama before I align myself with Trump or Clinton. That's an easy one. What has Barack done that those crooks did? Nothing. Through his whole presidency, you can't find one criminal act Barack Obama has done. Who could say that about any president that has sat in that seat? Because they knew Barack used to go and spend his own money for stuff. His own money. Do you know why he spent his own money? He spent his own money He spent his entire money in his own because he didn't even want to take the risk. His family could have wrote him off on Trump spends the money and makes it on the company. He don't spend money out of his pocket. Just to make sure nobody tried to say they misused companies' monies and fines. Michelle Obama took the kids on a vacation trip to Paris, got them out of the house. Right away, the Fox News people jumped up. Whoa, where did she get that money? Using taxpayers' money to take. There's nope. You want to let it be known. I went in my bank account and I bought the tickets. Boom. Believe me, they had to do everything by the letter. They were not going to leave a stain. That's going to say the first black family or people of color to ever sit in that seat in the White House did something. And believe they searched top to bottom. ISIS evolved. Are you kidding? ISIS is a government created operation. Okay? It's a new government created Operation. So you guys can hear that firsthand right here. Al-Qaeda isn't. But ISIS is. ISIS was created. And let me tell you, ISIS was created to infiltrate other terrorist organizations to find out how they work. They did fake bombings. The government did fake bombings, fake bodies, and gave the credit to a new terrorist group called ISIS. People wanted to know what it was about, who was responsible. Pretty soon, they had people, fake recruits, coming over and doing jobs and saying, oh, it's ISIS. The government was able to find out other terrorists that was in Al-Qaeda who wanted to know more about this ISIS and where they come from. So they were able to infiltrate, take out a lot of Al-Qaeda members, supporters, and end up with ISIS bankrolling, funding them to keep the attacks going, to keep everybody using weapons, military, guns, so that the cycle will continue. And they say, well, we can't stop them. We got all this technology that we could bomb them from a satellite way above, but we can't stop it. So ISIS is above the president's pay grade. It's an operation that is very high-class government, and you guys believe the president has this kind of power. Do you think they would put a dope like Trump in charge of this stuff? No. He's nothing but a spokesman. Pushing the Quran's agenda? When have you seen President Obama do anything or live up to anything the Quran does? Oh, shoot. Where you come from, dude? You snuck up on me. Oh no. Okay, there we go. I was about to say, not the fan. Can't break the fan. We done broke the fan. See what Trump did? The Trump era done caused me to break my fan.
Moscow, Russia cared about the elections, and we have no idea.
All of those, they care. On all of those metrics,
there go Trump guy.
He succeeded immensely as president, and he has good things going for him, but they should not be used as an excuse for the bad.
He has
They both
succeeded
count.
in carrying Vladimir Putin's water all over the world.
Anna
Attacking
Navarro,
NATO, attacking Montenegro.
This is birtherism.
Ridiculous.
It's not birtherism.
Yeah.
Anna
Well,
Navarro.
did you object when the birtherism was carried out by Donald Trump?
I sure did. I sure
Really?
did. I'm going to check it, Cortez.
Yeah.
I'm going to check
Yes, I
it.
did.
I mean, All right, thanks to
How
both of
ironic
you.
to throw out birtherism when Donald Trump is the guy who birthed birtherism.
This is the birth of irony. Anna Cortez, thank you.
The death of shame.
We're going to talk to a man now who's very concerned.
She can't
about
shut up
where
for 10
America is
seconds.
heading. You know the name, Mitch Landrieu of New Orleans fame. What's he going to do about the troubles that he sees? We'll put it to the former mayor. Next.
A Democrat who can shake up the 2020 field. No. There is no Democrat that can shake up the 2020 field. Why? Because Democrats buy their clothes at Walmart. You need a Democrat that buys his, that goes to Goldman Sachs